Avast Peaches. I am 7.1.Riley, and this is a tutorial on doing the daily check-in using MixItUp. Let's get started. Open up your MixItUp. We're currently using version 1.3.0.5. There are going to be three different, I'll say, levels to this. We have the very basic version. We have a more advanced version, and I'll call it an intermediate/expert version. And you'll see what I mean as we get through the rest of the tutorial here. Open up your MixItUp and hit the menu, go down to currency, rank inventory. I've already got something here, so let me kind of run through how I work this out. In my case, I'm going to hit edit. For you, you're going to hit add inventory. You're going to have this screen here. So I call my inventory name, I call this thing grog. The item name that I put in here is daily grog. I don't worry about the max, the buy, or the sell price because the shop and trade we don't use in this case. You can leave the default at 99. Once you put in your item name, I would suggest something like daily something. You can hit add item. It'll pop up just like this. That's all we need to do. Scroll down, hit save icon, and then keep a note on some of these special identifiers. I'll come back to this to kind of help reference. Once you're done with that, hit the menu icon again, go down to your channel points. You're going to hit a new channel point reward. It's going to pop up with, hey, what do you want to call it? Go ahead and call it whatever you like. There's going to be another pop-up screen saying, hey, you're good to go. It's at this point that I would say go into your channel points in through your Twitch creator dashboard and go find it. Go set the amount that you want it to. Typically, we do 1 for the amount of channel points that it takes. But keep a note and go all the way down in your other options and limit this to 1 redemption per user per stream because it's just a daily check-in. They're not going to keep on racking things up. This is just saying, hey, I'm here for today. I've come, I've done my stuff. That's all we need to do with this. So once you got that done, come back into MixItUp and I'm going to edit the new reward that I had just made. So this is where I said we get a little bit funky with everything. So for your beginner level, you only need the bottom 2 things here, which is going to be the chat message and the consumables. So in order to add these, you'll have a blank screen. You'll just come down to actions, you'll add consumables, and you'll add chat message. So for the chat message, it's going to be something along the lines of $username has claimed $user grog daily grog pints of grog in this case, or rather user grog daily grog. And the reason why that we have that there is because it refers back to the inventory that we just did. But the consumables say, okay, what are we trying to do here? So we're taking the consumables, being the inventory, we're saying add it to the user within MixItUp's own tracking system. The item of which that we're doing this with is the item that you made. In my case, I call it daily grog, and we're only adding 1 to it. So in this case, $username refers to how MixItUp does their own internal identifier. So $user is technically the core of it. User name, the name piece is more of a specifier. So in this case, I say, okay, username, in my case, Simon1.4.Riley, has claimed user grog daily grog. So the user grog is part of the inventory. The item being daily grog that we added to it. So user grog item, the item being daily grog, so the whole thing looks like user grog daily grog. In my case, I just say, hey, you've claimed this many pints of grog in total. Yahar. This is where the basic ends and we start getting into the advanced. I get a little bit fancy with my stuff and I say, let's throw another chat message about the consumables. In my case, we can say, okay, username, Simon1.4.Riley, has visited the quartermaster for the daily allowance of, and then in this case, I actually have a different thing here. That's more for the expert version. In my case, I would just say grog. So this is how something would be. So it would be, you have a chat message first, then the consumables, and then another chat message saying, hey, successful on adding this to your collection, your check-ins. But what if we wanted to get into the expert level of things? Let me change that back real quick, 1 second, and you'll understand why just a little bit. Let me drag this over here so that we can see this a little bit better and see the full force of things. I have another thing in here of file read write. And so the initial action says, hey, read from the file. No, in this case, we're going to read a random line from a file. And if I were to go and pull this text doc up here, just 1 second, let me find that real quick here. Let's always put that thing back where it came from more, so help me, so help me. So I have this right here. This is my daily mix it up for the daily grog. And I say, okay, I want to read a random line from a file from this text document. So it can either be grog, cider, rum, ale, bourbon, whiskey, beer, or lager. And we say, okay, we have this file here. It reads a random line from the file, but we need an identifier for it. So I put drink. Makes sense. Makes sense for a lot of things. So, okay. So the whole thing reads as, okay, go ahead and read a random line from this file and do as placeholder where drink is mentioned. So username, Simon14 Riley, has visited the quartermaster for their daily allowance of whiskey, daily allowance of rum, daily allowance of cider. And it doesn't matter, but it will read probably the same thing for the whole session. At least that's what I've seen. Now it could be that, okay, you read a random line from the file for 1 day, or it reads randomly from the file for the rest of the stream. Haven't done a whole lot of testing for that to see what actually happens, but we find out. So welcome to the expert level of things. So we have read a random line from a file. Where's that file path at? What do you want to call it? Chat message says, okay, username has visited quartermaster for the daily allowance of drink. Replace drink with something from the list. Add a counter to your daily grog. Call back and say, okay, we now have, for this user, they have this many pints in total, in my case at least. Other than that, that is pretty much the tutorial for how this works. I will actually leave a link to where I originally got this tutorial from. If you guys have any comments, any questions, if you're still confused about how everything works, feel free to leave comments down. I'll try to reply as best I can. Other than that, I appreciate y'all for this tutorial, and I'll see you when I see you next.